Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I am Bisola Widlane, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the call to bar ceremony in Nigeria. And I am making this video with the candidates to be called in mind, and I just want to talk about some of the things I feel that you should be aware of before the call, during the call, and after the call to bar ceremony. Without further ado, let's get right into this video. And if you stick around until the end of the video, you get to hear the most important tip that I have for you in a little extra bonus. Before your call to bar, the most important thing that I would say is that you have to strictly comply with laid down procedures that guides the screening and the entire call to bar ceremony. Law school take their rules very seriously and they expect you to comply with them. That includes all the rules that go with the screening and just getting everything ready for the call. You're not alone. They're going to call several thousands of you guys, and your friends are going to be amongst these thousands. In the course of the screening, you just make sure that you are working with your friends. Not literally working with them, but you all follow up on the procedures. Definitely there will be circulars to this effect and to tell you exactly what you're supposed to do, and just keeping in touch with your friends help you carry them along and make sure that no one is left behind. And of course you have to have your dress ready. This is the most exciting part for me. You want to make sure that you are strictly complying with the dress code. For the ladies, you're going to wear a suit and you're going to wear a camisole or something like what I have on, but you are not wearing a black one. You're not wearing a shirt, you're wearing a camisole, and you're wearing a black suit and black shoes. And speaking of shoes, there's certain kinds of shoes that law school will not allow for your call to bar, and you should know this by now already, but I thought to mention it again just so that you're not caught in the web of trying to get a new shoe on the day of your call. You don't want to go through that trouble. So I do know that they do not allow suede, and so just make sure you have ready the right kind of shoe for your call to bar. Where is that shoe of mine? This is the shoe that I had on for mine. It's certainly falling apart, but it has done his job. You cannot go wrong with something like this. And speaking of wigs and gowns, my favorite thing in the whole lawyer's apparel has to be the wig, but I knew that I had to get it right. And for your wig, you want to get there are different kinds of wigs, and if you haven't gotten your wig by now, that's fine. I think I got mine barely a week to the call, barely a week, maybe a couple of days to the call. So I took my time with that and there was no rush whatsoever. Here's my wig that I absolutely love. I took my time to be sure that I was going to find something that suits me, something that I'll be happy to go to court in, something that I could feel really loyally in. So there are some kinds that I had different kinds of options, but this was perfect for me, and it's almost a year and I have no regrets. So take your time with buying your wig. If you haven't gotten yours at this time, you can definitely get people who sell wig and gowns in front of the Bowery Law campus, in front of the Bowery Law School campus, and there's going to be tons and tons of different wigs and gowns for you to choose from, so you can do that. And there's also a lot of different stores that you may have seen even when you were in school. So really, for wig and gown, just get something that you really like and something that you think will last you. And if you happen to like this exact one that I have, I will leave a link in the description and that we can see how we can get you one of these, just if you're interested in this one. Otherwise, there is so many options available, and you could just go ahead with any of those options really. A lawyer's apparel will usually come with the wig and the gown and the collarette and a camisole. I think that's the kind of package most vendors have when it comes to your wig and gown. But just make sure that it is pretty, because we're going to be wearing it for quite some time. And also another exciting thing about call to bar is that you get to take your call to bar photo shoot. This is because there's a certain limit to the kind of makeup that you should wear on your call to bar. While some persons say that makeups are not allowed, but during my set I found out that makeup was actually accepted, except of course it has to be light. And so I went with the notion of there's there's no makeup allowed and you can't make your hair, but I found out that you could actually wear makeup, but I didn't go with any. So this is what I look like on my photo bar. I look fine though, don't I? Okay, so and also for your hair, you want to keep it natural. And if you're like me, I actually am on low cut and it's just really comfortable, maybe I would consider making my hair again. But in the meantime, wigs have just made it easier. When I'm not filming this video, I don't have this on my head. I take it off my head and I let my scalp breathe. Really, I would suggest that you keep your hair natural. Of course, you're not going to use any form of extensions and attachment, and you cannot wear this for your call, but you can put on light makeup. And I hear that you can actually twist your hair. So for the makeup, if you have to wear makeup at all, just make sure that you keep it light. You can all go crazy with the highlight and contour. In my time, the only thing that I needed to enter the hall with was my ID card, which will be taken away from you just before you move into the hall, and then you'll be inspected to be sure that you're complying with the rules as regards hair and shoe and everything. And of course, you're going to go in with everything, including your wig, which you're not supposed to put on. You're just supposed to probably hold that in your hand, but you're to be all dressed with your gown and your suit and your camisole and your collar. But now I'll probably suggest that you also go in with what you'll be needing for enrollment, but we'll talk about those in just a moment. And before your call to bar, one thing that you don't want to be is late. You don't want to be late at your call to bar. Okay, so I used to hear that once it's time to be in the hall and you are not seated at that time, the door would be shut, and that would mean that you will not be called for that year until the next set has been called, and then you'll be called for that. Now, I don't know how relaxed that rule is right now. I wouldn't know because I was on time, so and I'm usually not on time. But I was on time, and you don't want to learn how relaxed the rule is with your own experience. So just be early. I should emphasize that the call is not for 10 o'clock. It's for 10 o'clock for the persons that will be viewing and your guest and all of that will be viewing from home in 2020. But you have to be seated there at around 8:30. That's what the notice says. So just be sure you're there. It's just going to be a day, and just be sure that you are early and that you're on time. All right, let's move to during the call to bar. You really don't have much to do except you're supposed to sit down in the hall and listen and listen and listen and listen out for your name as well. And by the way, you'll be given something like this, which has everybody's name, and your name will be somewhere here depending on what time you're supposed to be called and all of that. That is me right here. I don't know if you could see that, but you're not exactly supposed to see that. When you look into this book, that kind of gives you an idea as to when they're going to call your name. And once they call your name, you just walk up from your seat and go straight to the podium and have your moment. By that, of course, your moment means that you're just going to walk across and get a handshake or two and get your certificates, and yeah, and you go back to your seat and probably say a prayer of thanksgiving and further committing your journey into the hands of God. And if you happen to have a wonderful sister like me, she's just going to capture that moment for you. And yeah, so because of her, I have this moment captured. The ceremony is not going to take too long, and once you have done that, now you don't want to go home. You want to go straight to the Supreme Court to enroll as a legal practitioner, okay, and as a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. So that step is really important. And this brings us to what happens after the call to bar. After the call to bar, you do not go home. You do not go to the party your parents and friends have organized until you're done with your enrollment. And some persons will just not do their enrollment that same day, but probably do it the day after. I think that it's best to just do it that day so that it's all gone and forgotten. Just make sure that as soon as you're called, you get to the Supreme Court to be enrolled, and then you can go home and rejoice. And to get enrolled, you're going to need some document. That will include your call to bar certificate and your qualifying certificate, which has your class of degree, and your passport, your proof of screening, and of course you go to the Supreme Court fully dressed in your wig and gown. And that process really goes quick and easy. Like in less than 10 minutes I was in and out. So it was not really it was not stressful at all as I imagined it would be. And once you have done this, you can go home and rejoice, because you are now a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Oh, but now you're probably going to start looking for a job with a law firm, or looking for a PPA for service here, unless you want to just go ahead and start up your own practice. I wouldn't have any advice as regards that, but as regards those who would be searching for a place to do their PPA and a place to work, I could just put out a list of some law firms that I know with the help of some friends around, and we can come up with something. I hope I can make a content around that area. I would really like to say a special thank you to Busaria, who helped out with putting this content together, and Opayemi. They should do so much. Let me just thank God. I actually was going to record my call and all of that. I actually have the content ready, but for some reason I just never put up that video. I don't know why. In the book where I usually write my content, I just got to not find it, and yeah, like that. But so they were really helpful to come up with this content, and for that I thank you. In the meantime, you can just go home and relax until I come up with a video, or you could just do your own research as to some firms that you can really apply to, especially if you're in Lagos or Abuja. You made it till the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. And the most important tip comes with every set. There might be a slight change in procedure. For instance, we thought that our set was special because we didn't have ours at the what's it called again? We didn't have our call to bar at the ICC, and we had ours at Buhari. And now yours is even more special because you are not having yours as ICC, neither are you having it at Buhari. You are also not having your guests physically present with you. So you have to be aware of whatever special circumstance applies to you. And if you happen to like this blouse that I have on, assuming that you can see it, I am not going to give it to you. I will not give it to you. Of course, I will not give it to you. But what I can do is leave a link in the description to a video that shows you how you can make yourself one. Thank you so much for watching this video. It's quite a lengthy one, and I wish you all the best in your legal journey, or whatever it is you decide to do from here, because you can pretty much do whatever you like. And so I wish you all the best in your journey, and I will see you in my next video. And again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.